given that interest, given the advocacy, I'm here to confirm that IRCC will make this program permanent. I must say that the work we still need to finalize it. There's some elements of this program that will take a few more months to make permanent. So part of the announcement today is announcing a new pilot, which is essentially RNIP. Technically, it'll be launched this fall, and that'll be called the Rural Immigration Pilot, and the Francophone Community Immigration Pilot, which is why my speech is so long today, because we're actually launching 2 pilots today. This spring, we'll open the applications process for communities interested in participating in either pilot, and we'll then select the communities who will take part in these new pilots. The Rural Community Immigration Pilot will continue the important work to retain the talented foreign workers that you all know contributed to Sudbury. The new pilot is tailored to help us achieve greater alignment as to what I was speaking about just a few seconds ago.
Ready to start your journey to Canada? Click the link in the description to access our complimentary CRS calculator and see how you can boost your CRS score. Your future in Canada awaits.
It is, however, the fact that remote and northern communities face unique challenges in response to Canada's aging population, the labour market shortages, and as such, it's critical for these communities to attract the skilled workers that you need, such as healthcare professionals, workers, construction workers, people here. 20% of your workforce is not nothing, Jeff, and I think it's important to make sure those people feel validated, welcome, as they become Canadians and as fellow Canadians welcome them. They're supporting our economies, paying taxes, making sure we're the country that we expect ourselves to live up to be. The Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot aims to achieve this goal through immigration, but specifically by creating a pathway to permanent residence to attract and retain skilled foreign workers in this region, so you're not leaving people in limbo. The pilot has 2 main objectives, obviously to stimulate economic development in smaller rural communities and help them keep newcomers that they attract. And we know that there is retention challenges, whether you're an immigrant or not. There is the lure of larger urban centers. We were just talking about that before. Through the pilot, it's important to highlight its success, and it's really thanks to you. We've partnered directly with 11 communities across Northern Ontario in Western Canada, including Sudbury. As of the end of January, 5,158 newcomers became permanent resident through this pathway, and roughly 87% of those who were surveyed and responded were still in these communities as of October of 2022, which is really big if I look at the national statistics. And you're clapping for yourselves, really, because it's you guys that have done it, and that agency. You know, the story of the big federal government deciding who comes into the country, and then people that come here take a generation to figure out. That isn't how it should be. It's often been the case too often, and this is an example of how the agency that you take and take responsibility for those people is very important as part of the integration process, because obviously we can't do it alone. And those odds that I mentioned, 87%, and they actually defy sort of the it's lack of a better word, the depopulation odds in rural communities in a lot of ways. So these people, they're not only here, they love it and they want to stay and they want to contribute to build it. So this addresses the labor shortages in healthcare, manufacturing, retail accommodation and food services, as well as scientific and technical services. So last month, due to the ongoing interest and the advocacy of many parts of the country, my department extended the pilot's community recommendation period that was set to expire on February 29th. It made a lot of sense. We also increased the number of candidates that communities can recommend, which is key. These measures will allow participating communities to take part in the pilot for a longer period and help fill the labor needs with skilled candidates. And given the successes of what we call RNIP, the Royal Northern Indigenous, I'm talking about I said it this morning, and the immigration pilot, and the critical role that it has to play in ensuring the growth of local northern economies. Given that given that interest, given the advocacy, I'm here to confirm that IRCC will make this program permanent. You guys are still clapping for yourselves, but I'll take it. It'll help ensure that Sudbury and communities like yours will be able to benefit from this program for the years to come. I must say that the work we still need to finalize it. There's some elements of this program that will take a few more months to make permanent. So part of the announcement today is announcing a new pilot, which is essentially RNIP. Just because this is a very nerdy part of the press conference, but because of my statutory powers, I can only do a pilot for 5 years, and so we're doing a new one that reproduces this and actually expands it to more communities while we make it permanent. And I think there's some elements as we refine what we've learned from the pilot that we need to fix with host communities, with the role of the federal government. We want to make sure that the need, the desire, attaches with it some responsibility, and I think these are larger conversations that have to do with provinces and have to do with the importance of every community that says they want people to make sure that there's a responsibility that comes with it, whether you're talking about a university or a province or a city or a smaller town. It's part of the responsibility we all have as Canadians to make sure that we're all doing our jobs properly. So this is really something that technically it'll be launched this fall, and that'll be called the Rural Immigration Pilot, and the Francophone Community Immigration Pilot, which is why my speech is so long today, because we're actually launching 2 pilots today. I sound like a salesman, 2 for the price of 1. But this is actually a really important component because it has the capacity of doubling the number of people that come to this community, especially if they're speaking French and want to be part of those communities. The Rural Community Immigration Pilot will continue the important work to retain the talented foreign workers that you all know contributed to Sudbury. The new pilot is tailored to help us achieve greater alignment as to what I was speaking about just a few seconds ago. This spring, we'll open the applications process for communities interested in participating in either pilot, and we'll then select the communities who will take part in these new pilots. As we make the rural and northern immigration pilot permanent, communities who took place in RNIP will have the opportunity to reapply to one of these pilots, and no reason to believe they won't be the successful candidates. Everyone just has to go through the process. But I'm confident that this new pilot, an enhanced version, will be one that will be able to meet the labor needs and grow communities. Today's announcement is a step towards establishing more permanent support for economic migration to rural and remote communities across Canada, it's critical to your long-term economic prosperity. At its core, this is about ensuring that rural and remote communities have the talented, skilled workers that they need to help grow their economies. And after multiple attempts to recruit experienced local tradespeople, this family-owned welding shop opted to look abroad. And since hiring senior welders from Mexico, Carrier Industrial Supply has now grown exponentially, broken into new markets and developed even better products. And as the skilled workers who have arrived work in places like Carrier and others, they're excited to land here, welcoming communities where they can build a life that is full and complete for their families. And really look forward to visiting more communities, and I will be in Sault Ste. Marie tomorrow to see the work that they're doing. Hope that's not a rival statement, but there's work to be done around the country, and as we expand these programs, provide agencies to your communities, making sure that the federal government is doing its role and making sure that you have the tools you need, and also the people, particularly in communities that have strong French-speaking communities. This is something I think we can all be proud of, and with this announcement today, we have the potential of doubling the number of people that you'll be able to welcome according to the parameters of the program. So congratulations to everyone. Je vous félicite infiniment. Et merci.
That's all for today from us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay in the loop on the latest immigration news. See you next time.